Welcome back to our channel Rare Coins Hub. You've probably seen hundreds of these copper discs in your life, pennies, tossed casually into jars, spilled from pockets, or forgotten in drawers. To most, they're just everyday change, an afterthought on the way to the store or the coffee machine. But what if I told you that hidden among those humble pennies are some of the most fascinating and valuable pieces of American history? That a seemingly ordinary 1972 US 1-cent penny, for instance, could be worth thousands of dollars due to rare minting errors or unusual origins? This isn't just numismatic nerd talk, it's real treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine a warm summer day in 1972. The U.S. Mint in Philadelphia is bustling with activity, churning out millions of pennies destined for everyday transactions. But a handful of those pennies came out different. Their details, especially on the front, or obverse, are doubled. The date, 1972, and the word Liberty seem to have been stamped twice, as if the coin couldn't quite decide how to present itself. This phenomenon is known as a double die obverse error. While the average person might see nothing unusual, collectors see a rare and precious artifact. Why does this doubling happen? During the minting process, a steel die is engraved with the coin's design. In the case of double dies, the die itself was impressed twice with misaligned images before striking the blank planchets. The result: coins with a ghostly or doubled image on the surface. For the 1972 double die penny, only a few thousand were produced before the mistake was caught and corrected. Fast forward to today, and these pennies are highly sought after. At auction, a flawless example of the 1972 double die penny has been known to fetch upwards of $14,000. What was once loose change becomes a fortune, but the story of unusual pennies doesn't stop there. Step back to the mid-1960s, a time of significant change for U.S. coinage. The government was phasing out silver coins to conserve precious metals and faced a shortage of copper planchets. During this transitional era, an extraordinary and almost unbelievable error slipped through. A 1965 Lincoln cent was struck on a Canadian planchet from 1941. Yes, you heard that right, a U.S. penny stamped on a blank made for Canada, thinner and slightly smaller than its American counterpart. How did this happen? The U.S. and Canadian mints had some overlapping operations, and planchets sometimes were transported or stored together. In rare instances, a foreign blank would accidentally be fed into a U.S. coin press. This cross-border mix-up created a coin that looks like a regular penny at first glance but is a priceless rarity when examined closely. Experts confirm the difference by measuring its weight, diameter, and the copper alloy composition. When one of these unique coins appeared at auction, it sold for over $10,000. Picture the significance of holding such a piece. It's more than metal and design, it's a physical link to a moment when history, industry, and chance collided. For collectors, it's akin to discovering a lost chapter of a story they thought they knew. Then there are the 1983 double die reverse pennies, which offer yet another intriguing chapter. Instead of doubling on the front, these pennies show doubling on the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial. The words "e pluribus unum" and 1 cent appear doubled, creating a subtle but unmistakable visual anomaly. These errors are scarcer than their obverse counterparts. A well-preserved example can command prices approaching $7,000. The rarity and desirability come from both the limited number that made it into circulation and the sharpness of the doubling effect. Every coin, every mint mark, every tiny imperfection tells a story. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint, identifiable by their P mint mark, though pennies minted there often omit this mark, differ from those struck in Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. The San Francisco Mint, in particular, is known for producing proof coins, carefully crafted coins meant for collectors, not circulation, often with mirror-like finishes and crisp details. Sometimes, errors slip into proof sets, making those coins even more valuable. Take the 1955 double die obverse penny, for example. Its striking doubling on the front is one of the most famous mint errors of all time and has been the subject of countless documentaries and collector stories. Back then, the minting process was less automated, and mistakes were more common, but the quality control was rigorous enough to catch most. The surviving error coins from that year, however, have become legends. Auction records show that pristine 1955 double-die pennies have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes even more, especially in uncirculated condition. The story behind it is fascinating. Errors of such magnitude don't come around often, and when they do, they capture imaginations and wallets alike. But what about the everyday collector? The casual hobbyist, or even someone simply cleaning out a drawer? The takeaway here is simple but powerful: old coin collections can be goldmines. Literally. A penny your grandmother saved, a handful of coins found in a childhood piggy bank, or even loose change from decades past could hold a hidden gem. And it's not only the rare double dies or cross-border planchet mistakes that add value. Some pennies have unusual planchets, like those struck on aluminum instead of copper, or coins with clipped planchets, where the metal blank was improperly cut before striking. Others might show off errors like off-center strikes, double strikes, or striking on the wrong metal blank point. One example is the 1970 small date penny. Minted in San Francisco and relatively rare, this coin commands collector interest because it was produced in lower quantities compared to the large date variety minted the same year. Spotting subtle differences like these can unlock surprising value. Beyond rarity, each penny is a historical artifact. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909, commemorating Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Before that, U.S. pennies typically featured the Indian head design, which also carries its own set of valuable errors and varieties. The Lincoln penny's long production run means it reflects decades of American history, wars, economic shifts, and technological changes in minting. Take, for instance, the 1943 steel penny, struck on a steel planchet coated with zinc due to copper shortages in World War II. Most people think these are worthless, but the rare 1943 copper penny, made in error, is one of the most valuable coins in existence, fetching hundreds of thousands at auction. Or consider the 1974 aluminum penny, a trial coin never officially released for circulation. Just a few exist, and their story is wrapped in mystery and experimentation, making them priceless collector's items. So, what does all this mean for you? First, it's a reminder to take a second look. Those pennies in your collection, your jar, or even your pocket might just be hiding a secret worth discovering. A quick inspection for doubled lettering, off-center strikes, unusual metal colors, or mismatched sizes could uncover a rare find. Second, it's an invitation to explore numismatics, the study of coins, not just as a hobby but as a gateway to history. Every coin carries stories of the people, politics, and technology that shaped its era. Holding a penny from 1909 or a 1965 Canadian planchet penny is like holding a piece of time itself. For seasoned collectors, understanding the origins, mint marks, and error types is crucial. It transforms the collection from mere clutter into a curated gallery of American history and rare craftsmanship. And for the everyday viewer, it's a chance to connect with the past in a tangible, rewarding way. So next time you find yourself scrolling past a jar of pennies, pause. Take a moment to look closer. You might just be holding a treasure with a story that stretches back decades, worth far more than its face value. Check those old coin collections. Dust off that jar. Examine your pennies under a magnifying glass. The history, the mystery, and the potential fortune could be just a coin flip away. You've probably held thousands of pennies in your lifetime, clinking in your pocket, scattered across countertops, or packed away in jars and drawers. To most people, they're just the smallest unit of U.S. currency, barely worth a second glance. But among those thousands of 1-cent coins lies a story almost too incredible to believe. A story of history, rarity, and value that can turn an ordinary penny into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. Picture the year 2000. The world was entering a new millennium. People were buzzing about Y2K, new technology, and endless possibilities. Meanwhile, the U.S. Mint was quietly striking billions of pennies, continuing a tradition that had lasted for over a century. Most of these pennies would never attract a second glance. But among them was a coin so rare, so unique, that collectors today pay extraordinary sums just to add one to their collection. Let me tell you about the 2000 Lincoln cent, and why one particular example, the 2000 penny with a double die obverse, has shaken the numismatic world. This coin looks ordinary at first, coppery, small, embossed with the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, but look closely at the date and the lettering on the front, and something amazing happens. The date, 2000, and the word Liberty are doubled, as if they were stamped twice, but slightly offset. This is no simple printing error, it's a minting error caused during the die preparation stage, where the image was impressed twice on the die itself, creating a double die effect. While many pennies from 2000 look just like any other coin, only a very small number were struck with this double die obverse. This error isn't just a minor curiosity. It makes this particular penny one of the most sought-after and valuable modern coins in existence. At auctions, examples of this coin in high-grade condition have sold for amounts that make most people's jaws drop. Depending on condition and provenance, the value of a 2000 double die obverse penny ranges from around $42,000 to as much as $105,000. Yes, you heard that right, over $100,000 for a single 1-cent coin. It's almost unimaginable, yet true. How did such a valuable penny come to be? It starts with the minting process. The Lincoln cents design is transferred from a master hub to working dies, which then strike blank copper discs, or planchets, to create the coins. Sometimes, the hub impresses the die twice without perfect alignment, causing the double die error. Back in 2000, the U.S. Mint had largely automated processes, making such errors less frequent than in the early 20th century. But once in a great while, the unexpected slipped through quality control. The 2000 double die obverse penny was one of those rare exceptions. Collectors who first discovered the coin began to share images and stories. Word spread fast. Suddenly, pennies once considered mundane were re-examined under magnifying glasses and microscopes. Coin dealers and auction houses started recognizing the significance. Prices soared as demand exploded, but it's not just the double die obverse that makes the 2000 penny fascinating. There are other intriguing variations from that year, such as proof coins struck in San Francisco with their own unique finishes and subtle differences. Some specimens display doubling on the reverse side, or show faint anomalies caused by slight misalignments or pressure inconsistencies during striking, yet none have captivated collectors quite like the 2000 double die obverse penny. To understand why, we have to look beyond just the error and appreciate the coin's place in history. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909. Celebrating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Since then, it has become the longest-running U.S. coin series, passing through wars, economic turmoil, and social change. Each penny holds a piece of that history. The year 2000 marked a new era for the penny as well. It was the last year before the mint began experimenting with changes to the penny's composition to save on production costs. In 2000, pennies were still mostly copper-plated zinc, continuing a shift that had started a few years earlier. That means the 2000 double die penny connects us both to tradition and transition, a perfect snapshot frozen in copper. Collectors often tell stories of the thrill of finding such coins. Some stumbled upon them in their change, while others unearthed them from collections passed down through generations, untouched and unrecognized for years. Many have spent hours examining their coins under magnification, hunting for that telltale doubling on the date or letters. Auction records have been the proof of the coin's value. At major numismatic events, 2000 double die pennies have fetched prices between $42,000 and $105,000, depending on factors like condition, mint mark, and certification by grading services. High-grade, certified coins with impeccable detail and minimal wear command the highest prices. For context, a typical common Lincoln cent from 2000 might be worth just a few cents or at most a couple of dollars in pristine condition. But that rare double die turns it from pocket change into a prize. What lessons can you take from this? First, always examine the coins in your possession carefully. Some of the rarest and most valuable coins don't announce themselves boldly. They're hiding in plain sight, waiting for the observant eye to reveal their secrets. Second, understanding a coin's origin and production process can unlock the stories behind these metal discs. It connects you to history, craft, and the accidental quirks that make collecting so rewarding. And third, if you think you might have a rare coin, especially one with doubled lettering or unusual features, consider getting it professionally examined and graded. Authenticity and condition play huge roles in determining value. The 2000 double die obverse penny reminds us that even the most common object, a 1-cent coin, can be a vessel for history and wealth. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about the stories behind everyday objects, it's worth taking a closer look at the pennies in your pocket. So next time you find a handful of coins, don't just toss them in a jar. Inspect them, learn their history, and maybe, just maybe, you'll uncover a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars hiding quietly in your change, because sometimes, the smallest things tell the biggest stories, and the most valuable ones are often right under our noses. Take the year 2006. At first glance, the pennies from this year look just like any other, glossy copper, featuring Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile on the obverse and the shield design on the reverse, introduced just a few years earlier in 2000. But among the millions of pennies struck that year lurks a rare and extraordinary variety, the 2006 double die obverse penny. What exactly is a double die? To understand, we have to peek behind the scenes at the minting process. Each coin's design is first engraved into a master hub, which then impresses working dies. These working dies strike blank planchets, those tiny copper discs, transforming them into the pennies we use every day. Sometimes, the die itself is impressed twice by the master hub, but slightly misaligned. The result is a double die error, where the coin's design, especially the lettering and date, appears doubled or shadowed. The 2006 double die obverse penny is a perfect example. Look closely at the date 2006 and the word Liberty on the front of the coin. In these areas, the images are clearly doubled, two slightly offset impressions creating a ghosting effect. This isn't a printing error or damage, it's a minting anomaly that slipped past quality control in tiny numbers. Because the minting process had become highly automated and precise by 2006, double die errors were far less common than in earlier decades. This makes the 2006 double die obverse one of the rarest modern errors in U.S. pennies. Only a handful of these coins are known to exist today. Collectors discovered these pennies years after they were minted, sometimes in ordinary change or old coin collections. Once news spread about their existence and rarity, demand skyrocketed. Auction records now show that depending on the coin's condition and certification, a 2006 double die obverse penny can fetch anywhere from $35,000 to an astonishing $90,000. Imagine holding a coin worth more than a luxury car, all from a year you likely thought was unremarkable, but the story of the 2006 penny goes deeper. This coin represents a moment in time when tradition met technology. The penny's design by Victor David Brenner, featuring Lincoln's profile, has been in circulation for over a century. Yet the 2006 penny's reverse side carries a new symbol, the shield, introduced just a few years earlier to represent unity and strength. The double die error creates a tangible connection between the past and the present, frozen in copper. Beyond the double die, 2006 pennies can also carry other subtle variations, differences in mint marks, slight changes in metal composition, or proof versions made exclusively for collectors. Some 2006 pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, often without a mint mark, while others came from Denver, bearing a small d. Each mint can produce unique varieties and errors. Collectors prize those with perfect strike quality and minimal wear. Even slight differences in condition can drastically affect a coin's value. Certified grading services play a crucial role in verifying authenticity and assigning grades that help buyers and sellers agree on a coin's worth. For everyday coin holders and collectors alike, the 2006 double die obverse penny is a vivid reminder. Even the smallest, most common coins can hide extraordinary stories and unexpected value. Many people still have unopened rolls or jars of pennies from the early 2000s, unaware that their change could contain a rare treasure. So what should you do if you think you might have found one of these rare pennies? First, examine your coins carefully. Use a magnifying glass or even a smartphone camera with zoom to look for doubling on the date and the word Liberty. Compare your findings with trusted online resources and coin catalogs. If you spot the double die, consider getting the coin professionally evaluated and graded. Authentication is vital when dealing with high-value coins because reproductions and fakes can sometimes circulate. Once authenticated, you could be sitting on a small fortune. This penny isn't just about money, though. It's a physical piece of history, an artifact created by chance and precision, by technology and human oversight. Holding one connects you to the story of American coinage, to the art and science behind minting, and to a moment when something ordinary became extraordinary. So next time you find yourself sorting through pennies, whether from your own change jar or a box passed down from a relative, take a moment. Look closely. You might just uncover a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars, a tiny copper key to a much bigger story, because sometimes, the most valuable treasures come in the smallest packages, quietly waiting to be discovered. Let's travel back to 2012, a year buzzing with change. The world was shifting faster than ever, and even the coins in our pockets were evolving. The Lincoln cent, a familiar face for over a century, had adopted the shield design on the reverse just over a decade earlier. It was a symbol of unity and strength, striking in its simplicity. Most 2012 pennies rolled off the mint presses in huge numbers, destined for the hustle and bustle of everyday transactions, but among those millions of coins was a rare and remarkable anomaly, the 2012 double-die obverse penny. What is a double die? To grasp this, you have to peek behind the scenes at the minting process. Each coin's design is first engraved onto a master hub, which then impresses working dies. These dies stamp the blank copper discs called planchets, turning them into coins. Sometimes, the master hub impresses the die twice, but misaligned. This causes the design elements, especially the date and lettering, to appear doubled or shadowed on the final coin. For the 2012 penny, this doubling is subtle yet unmistakable on the front. Look closely at the date, 2012, and the word Liberty. The numbers and letters appear doubled, as if two overlapping images were stamped one after the other. This error is incredibly rare. The minting process by 2012 was highly automated and precise, so only a handful of these double-die obverse pennies made it into circulation before the error was caught. The discovery of these coins caused quite a stir among collectors. Suddenly, pennies once overlooked in loose change were scrutinized under magnifying glasses and microscopes. The rarity and beauty of the error combined to create something truly valuable. Today, depending on condition and certification, a 2012 double-die obverse penny can command prices ranging from $28,000 up to $76,000 at auction. Imagine that, a coin you might have casually tossed into a jar could be worth as much as a luxury motorcycle or a down payment on a house. What makes this coin so special beyond the error? The 2012 penny represents a moment of transition. It's part of the modern Lincoln cent series featuring the shield reverse design introduced in 2010. These coins reflect contemporary America, steadfast, unified, yet marked by subtle imperfections that tell a richer story. Moreover, the 2012 double-die penny is a testament to the delicate balance between technology and human oversight at the U.S. Mint. In an era of precision machinery, these rare errors remind us that even the most automated systems can yield surprises. Besides the double-die obverse, collectors also keep an eye out for other variations from 2012, including proof coins from the San Francisco Mint, subtle die cracks, or off-center strikes. But none have generated as much excitement or value as the double-die obverse. So what does this mean for you? It's a call to action. Examine the pennies you encounter with new eyes. Use a magnifying glass or a good camera zoom to inspect the date and letters for signs of doubling. Compare with trusted images online or in coin guides. If you find a coin exhibiting the double-die obverse characteristics, have it authenticated and graded by a reputable coin grading service. Certification adds credibility and helps establish market value, especially for high-ticket coins. This penny isn't just a piece of copper, it's a bridge to history, a symbol of craftsmanship, and a reminder that treasures can be found in the most ordinary places. So next time you dig through a jar of pennies or stumble upon an old coin collection, pause for a moment. Look closely. You may be holding a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars, a tiny artifact with a story millions of people would love to hear, because sometimes, the smallest things hold the greatest secrets, waiting patiently for the right person to uncover them.